What's new to Virginia's sentencing guidelines in 2025? In this video, we will discuss the 4 changes coming to Virginia's sentencing guidelines for 2025. 3 new offenses have been added to the guidelines for anyone sentenced on or after July 1st, 2025. Effective July 1st, 2025, new guidelines will cover all robbery offenses with a new layout. We'll discuss post-release supervision versus post-release probation, and we'll go over definitions of victim injury and legal restraint. 3 offenses have been added to the guidelines for anyone sentenced on or after July 1st, 2025. Those 3 offenses are resist arrest and obstruct justice by force or threats of force, unlawfully shoot or throw missile at train, car, etc., and prisoner possess, sell, or secrete an unlawful chemical substance. Resist arrest, obstruct justice by threats or force has been added to the miscellaneous person and property worksheets. Unlawfully shoot or throw missile at a train, car, etc. have also been added to the miscellaneous person and property worksheets. And prisoner possess, sell, or secrete an unlawful chemical substance has been added to the miscellaneous other worksheets. The second change is that new guidelines have been developed to cover all robbery offenses with a new layout. The new robbery guidelines are based on a comprehensive analysis of available data in cases where robbery or carjacking was the primary offense. The recommended dispositions are designed to closely match the historical rate of incarceration. The new robbery worksheets remain a bifurcated system. Worksheet A is used to determine if the recommendation is probation, no incarceration, or incarceration of 1 day or more. There is no Worksheet B for robbery. For the first time, Worksheet C will determine a jail or prison sentence. The robbery recommendation table has been adjusted to reflect recommendations for a jail sentence. Additionally, carjacking scores have been adjusted to reflect current historical sentencing patterns. Remember to submit new robbery guidelines if a sentencing hearing for robbery or carjacking was continued until July 1st, 2025 or later. The new robbery guidelines will only apply to offenses that occur July 1st, 2021 or after, and sentenced July 1st, 2025 and after. Carjacking offenses are covered regardless of offense date. The revised guidelines apply to anyone sentenced for carjacking July 1st, 2025 or after. The third change to sentencing guidelines that go into effect for anyone sentenced July 1st, 2025 or after is post-release supervision versus post-release probation. 19.2-295.2 has been amended to change post-release supervision to post-release probation. Any violation of post-release probation will be handled by the courts. In cases where a defendant is in violation of post-release probation, there will be no guidelines recommendation. In those cases, the preparer will simply check the post-release probation box on the sentencing revocation report. Post-release incarceration did not change for 19.2-295.2 Section 1. On the disposition form, post-incarceration period is now labeled probation supervision period to reflect the revised statute.
Now let's look at definitions of victim injury and legal restraint. There are now 5 types of victim injury: threatened, emotional, physical, serious physical, and life-threatening. Victim injury is defined in the manual on page 24 using catchwords to identify level of injury. Users must score this factor based on the definitions, not the catchwords. The definitions are not repeated in each offense section. Instead, each section will have a reference page back to the definitions page for the user to review. Here you can see the definitions of the types of injury laid out on pages 24 and 25 of the manual. Next, let's look at each type of injury and the definitions around it. A threatened injury occurs when the victim feels a sense of impending danger or feels intimidated. Threatened injuries are always coded based upon the victim's viewpoint. Emotional injuries are defined by the victim needing to receive mental health care by a licensed professional. This includes, for example, rape crisis hotlines and talking to someone's minister. Emotional injuries must be verified by someone other than a family member or the victim. In other words, someone needs to be able to verify that they received mental health care. A physical injury is one that requires some form of treatment, such as first aid or being held for observation. However, a physical injury does not require prolonged treatment and does not involve major loss of organ function or limbs. A serious physical injury is defined in the Code of Virginia under Statute 18.2-51.4. Serious physical injuries require prolonged treatment, may include an impairment of an organ or a limb, and may include extreme physical pain. Lastly, a life-threatening injury involves the loss or permanent and total paralysis of a limb or an organ, ongoing care utilizing mechanical or other artificial means, or even death. Remember to always reference back to the manual on pages 24 and 25 for the full definitions of victim injury. Remember that you score this factor based on the victim who received the most serious injury, and for any offense at sentencing, not just the primary offense. Next, let's look at definitions of legal restraint. The revised manual has added new verbiage for the legal restraint factor. Legal restraint is defined in the manual on page 49, using catchwords to identify types of legal restraint. As with victim injury, users should score the factor based on the definitions and not on just the catchwords. The revised manual provides extensive examples of legal restraint and how to score them correctly. As of July 1st, 2025, post-release will be scored the same as supervised probation after incarceration under legal restraint. The manual and the worksheets were printed prior to this legislation being signed.
A few important reminders. Per 19.2-298.01e, sentencing guidelines must be submitted for every felony sentencing event, including cases that will result in deferred findings. In deferred cases, the judge will check taken under advisement and all other applicable sentencing programs. The statute also requires that in cases where the defendant has violated the conditions of deferred findings, that guidelines once again be submitted to the court. In those cases, you can clone the original guidelines submitted to the court, update them if needed, and change the F to a D in the VCC suffix for each felony offense. In addition to changing the VCC code suffix from an F to a D, check the box indicating that this is a violation of a deferred disposition. Judges have asked that when you receive a hit notice the defendant has been arrested on a probation violation capias, that you complete the probation violation guidelines and finalize them using the correct docket number. This will place the guidelines on the judge's docket. Make sure that the name and docket number matches what is in the court's file so the guidelines will appear on the judge's docket, and use the docket number for the revocation and not the underlying offense. The official guidelines must be completed using SWIFT. Remember that guidelines should be finalized in SWIFT prior to being submitted to your court. If you do not have a SWIFT account, you can obtain a free and private account by emailing us at swift@vcsc.virginia.gov. Just include your name, email address, bar number if you are an attorney, and the name of your primary court.
You can visit the Commission's mobile website by texting VCSC to 804-656-5111 or scanning the QR code to the right. Here you can learn about the 2025 changes to the manual, register for seminars, search for VCCs by statute or keyword, have a quick reference to common rules, register for text alerts, view or download worksheets, and access the mobile guidelines manual and sentencing ranges. You can also visit the URLs below on your mobile device to access the manual. VCSC staff are typically available by phone from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday by calling 804-225-4398. You can also text staff at 804-393-9588. Again, you can text VCSC to 804-656-5111 for the mobile website. You can contact staff by email. All email addresses are posted on the Commission's website listed below. Manuals, VCC books, and updates will be shipped in late June.
We have several training seminars scheduled through 2025. We continue to explore training options and may add seminars throughout the year. You can continue to check our website to see if any additional seminars have been added. In addition to registering for a seminar using our website or mobile site, you can download or print a registration form from our website. You can use this form to register for a seminar, apply for a SWIFT account, or place an order for a manual. We appreciate you taking your time to watch our What's New in 2025 video. Just a reminder, if you have any questions when scoring guidelines, feel free to contact staff at the Commission.